you go through, just for the people who don't know, can you go through who you are, what you've done, and tell us a story or something so we can put the frame of reference in?
I'm Young Guru, engineer for a bunch of people, but mostly known for engineering with Jay-Z and Rockefeller, but I've pretty much engineered for everyone in the hip-hop, R&B realm. Started out as a DJ and went through that whole thing and ended up being an engineer. And then I was approached by AIAIAI to actually put together something with them as a collaboration to work on a pair of headphones, and I just thought with that company I kind of fit the best. The aesthetic of the company and the way that they work, and I mean the design of it is paramount. So for me, that was the reason why I wanted to do it. I've been approached by a million companies to do a million different things, but this one just felt wrong. My whole purpose with doing this collaboration with AIAIAI was to, I looked at the market and I said, okay, when I was approached with this, I'm like, okay, another headphone, right? Naturally, somebody's going to go, the market is saturated with that. So you look and say, well, what niche is not being served right now? So most people are doing an enhancement when they're doing their headphones. They want to make your music sound better than what it actually is. Right? That wasn't our purpose with this. Our purpose was to look at the marketplace and say, okay, well, there's not a headphone that's completely flat that allows people to mix records in their bedroom. So if you look at the amount of professionals there are and the amount of semi-pros that there are, the amount of kids that are now producing, mixing, and really releasing full albums from their bedroom, but they're in a square box, which is the worst place to record and to mix music. So if I can at least give the consumer that can't afford to go in a studio, a proper studio, a listening environment where they can check their music and reference it so that they can have a neutral environment. That was really the whole purpose. I don't want to just throw my name on something. So I actually, flew to Denmark, sat down, we went over so many different drivers, we went over so many different fabrics, went over so many different forms or ways that this could actually be. And I think that was really the ethos of the whole thing. I didn't want to put logos on the side. It's very understated. I wanted it to be about the piece of equipment, and what it's going to do for the marketplace and allowing kids, or I don't want to just say kids, but anyone that is recording and mixing music in their room or in an environment, they now have a studio reference, or a reference to where they can say, okay, now I can trust this reference versus whatever other EQ these other headphones are throwing on there. And it's also in a studio environment as well. Even if you're sitting in a studio, you may move from studio to studio and not really understand that environment. You can carry your personal environment that you know with you. That was the whole purpose behind it, was to really make a great studio headphone. Not to say that you can't use it for DJing or things like that, but our main focus was to make a neutral headphone that was almost as flat as possible.
Cool. What are the specs on the inside? We were told a 40mm titanium driver and all that stuff.
Absolutely. But the thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that we stay. I went through so many drivers that I think I'm going to finalize on these drivers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We wanted to showcase this at NAMM, but to me, I kind of hit the lick with this last with the last drivers. Okay. Because the frequency response that I was getting was sort of flat all the way down to it was almost like down to 30, which was unheard of. Yeah. So that for me that was the best response that I could get. Cool. And then little things that I was putting on here. You'll notice a couple of things. I'm gonna put like Nada Brahma on here, and it's just my reference to sound and how important sound is. But I didn't want to make it too flashy or too gaudy.
No hinges. It's got very basic build.
And then I wanted it to be as light as possible, but as sturdy as possible and comfortable. So that's why the cushion on the underside is the way it is, and that's why these were chosen as the fabric, so that when you have this on for 2 hours, 3 hours, you're in a real listening environment, you don't tire yourself out. And also, I also found that sometimes when I had leather here, you start to sweat a lot.
We were just talking about that outside.
This material was sort of better, for me as a choice to deal with that problem. Just as a DJ, as an engineer myself, just making sure that all those little things were taken care of. Just a couple of little, instead of doing like the left and the right, red and white, I just did the red and the black here. Just a small understated things to let you, have some familiarity with, but still be understated and classic. And
just like all the other TMAs, cables replaceable, locks in.
Oh, absolutely. And that was to me, that was a big thing. At first, there wasn't a lock. At first it was just a plug-in. So now it plugs in and actually locks. So that now you can, you know, you can pull on it.
For the DJs in the world, they're gonna love that.
And I also wanted it to make like a stretchy thing, so that if I'm moving around my studio, you know, I'm not pulling on this end. It's actually, you know, giving me the leeway here.
Right.
Yeah. That was
cool. Material of the cable. It's not the normal like rubberized.
I don't know what I picked this out of a bunch of materials. I'm not familiar with the exact name of the material.
It almost looks like military grade.
Yeah, it's something new, and it felt great, but it allowed me to have a thicker cable.
Right.
Which gives you a better response.
Right.
So,
okay, cool.
For me, that was the best thing. And then going with these metal tipped ends, I was a little iffy at first, but these are the best connections that I could have. So that's why this part is it's a grounding on the inside. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Cool. It's gonna screw on 1/4 inch jack.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All that stuff.
Yeah, you can screw on your 1/4 inch.
And just any user replacements for this besides the cable? If something breaks,
absolutely, there'll be warranties and that and such with it. But I was also thinking about maybe doing a black cable. So the replacement parts are with anything. If these actually, if I can get it to do it, these actually pop off. They actually
we saw it on one of the other
they stick
ones.
in kind of well. So I don't want to pull
break
them all
it.
the way out. Yeah. But they actually pop off.
Okay.
You can replace those as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good. So yeah, I mean, those are. It's nice to see. It's nice to see a pair of headphones that look different.
Absolutely.
You know.
And for me, my main concern was just to make sure that people can mix and get a very clear sound on what they're listening to instead of having a colored sound. I think that was the main focus.